All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of The Potential Project. I'm your host, Sean Calhoun, and if you're here, it's because you're ready to reduce stress, burn stubborn fat, and get your body working with you instead of against you. On this podcast, we're all about simple, no BS strategies for fitness, nutrition, and lifestyle. This way, you can feel strong, confident, and in control. I'll give you the tools, mindset shifts, and habits to help you look and feel your best without spending hours in the gym or stressing over every single meal. Now, let's get into it. All right, guys, welcome back. And today we're going to talk about the foundations and the basics, right? Because no matter what diet you follow, what workouts you're doing, or what supplements you're taking, if the foundations aren't in place, nothing else will work the way that it should. And I say that because I see people jumping from one program to another. They're trying different gyms out. They're thinking that they're broken. They can't figure this out. They don't know why the habits that they're taking in place, the exercises that they're doing, the diets that they're going on aren't working. And it's not that they're not working. It's just that they're not working on you, right? They're either working on you or they're working for you. So let me rephrase that. They are working on you. They're not working for you. And the reasons why foundations are so important is because they build the structure for everything that you're doing in your health building journey. Just like a house, right? You need a strong concrete foundation. And the bigger the building, the bigger and the stronger the foundation is. I mean, for example, I don't know if you've ever been there, but I went to the 9/11 Memorial up in New York City. And it's all like underground. And you take an escalator down and you realize just how massive the foundation for that building was. I mean, we were like 70 to 80 feet underground, and that's all structural steel and concrete to hold, the world's tallest building at the time. So again, that story doesn't really matter, but it just emphasizes the point of how important the foundations are in order to build the health and the life that you want. Because if the World Trade Center was built on 2 feet of concrete foundation, well, guess what? That thing's tipping over right away. You wouldn't even be able to build that high. The same goes for you. And with these foundations, these are things that you're going to do every day or work on them or have conscious thought about to prioritize on a daily basis for the rest of your life. Because they're the things you come back to. They're the things that you do without thinking, and they're the things that you do in order to stay at a state of just feeling good, right? So today I'm going to share 5 foundational habits that really make any approach that you're taking a little bit easier, a little bit more effective, and just make more sense so that you're not spinning your wheels and going crazy thinking, I can't figure this exercise thing out. I can't figure out which diet is best for me. So if you at least have something to grab onto and you can do these foundational habits pretty consistently, well then guess what? You're going to start to see the needle move over time. Now, I mean, I use this with my clients all the time, right? I have people come in and they might ask questions, right? What's the best diet? What's the best sneakers to be wearing? And yes, that stuff plays a huge role. But aside from your mindset, which is the most important thing, the second most important thing is establishing the foundations and the routines and the habits that are going to lead you to success for long term. And the good part about it is they are simple. They're not overly complex, and they're something that you can start off small with and build upon, right? And have exponential growth as you use these throughout your life and how they mold into your lifestyle and your schedule, right? So when I first started exercising, all I was concerned about was, this is when I was like 16, right? I played sports my whole life, but I started lifting weights when I was in high school, and I was concerned with the visible metrics, right? How big is my chest? How do my abs look? A stupid, teenage boy. So I was just concerned with lifting weights and protein powder. And I'm ashamed to say this, but when I first started exercising, I even took fat burner pills. They were made by C4, the supplement company, which is still out now. But I would take protein powder, fat burning pills, and just lift heavy weights. Now, that was totally the wrong approach, obviously, as I know from hindsight, right, that I'm looking back at my younger self. I wish I could have guided him in a better direction. Luckily, I didn't get hurt. So I want to inform you, don't just go take random supplements for number one. Number two is that I wasn't focused on the basics, right? The foundations that we're going to go over today. And that led me to feeling, fatigued more often, potential to get injured, tweaking a shoulder here and there, right? It didn't lead me down the path of longevity and feeling my absolute best. It was kind of like the fact that I was young, had energy, and was just lifting heavy weights. So the reality is that most people aren't that lazy, right? Like, I get it, we're lazy. We want to have things set up for us in an easy way, but most people aren't that lazy. It's just that these habits are overlooked because they seem too simple. You know, when I talk to clients or just people about health, they want it to be complex so that it gives them like almost an excuse to not do it, or to feel like if I finally get this puzzle piece figured out, this complex situation, then I'll finally have my scenario locked in. For example, I was exercising with a friend and we were going for a run, and they were talking to me about, you know, what shoes they got and the technology that's in them, and it tracks their pace, and, you know, the moisture wicking shirt that they had on, and how the app went right to their phone and they could track all of these things. And I'm just thinking, like, just run, you know? Like, I'm not saying go out and do it in like military boots, but just run. I think we overcomplicate things because we think that they need to be, right? Like, if you want to exercise and you want to go for a run, put on some decent sneakers and get out there, right? Do what you can, right? Run a half a mile, run a mile, whatever you can do. And then you build upon that as you go. You don't have to sit here and have some complex situation set up. And the same thing goes for diets. You know, people ask, you know, what time should I eat this and how much of this? And I just look at it like, food should be food. I'm talking real whole foods. If you just eat those, you're going to start to learn how your body feels and what your body wants, right? Like, yes, you can track macros. I've kind of gotten past that. Like, it's good to be aware of how much you're eating, and like maybe you're overdoing it with the calories and sugary drinks, but like, come on, like if we're eating real foods, we don't have to have it be complex. And same goes for exercise, right? When I exercise, I do the foundational lifts, the squats, the deadlifts, the push, the pull, right? All of your basic lifts. And then you challenge yourself by going heavier. It doesn't have to be some like, all right, we're doing a step up, balancing on one leg, doing a bicep curl, then a shoulder press, then getting to the floor and doing a sit up. And that's your move for the day, right? You know, when I used to work at Orange Theory years ago, people that would come in would say, I love that you get a mix up. The workout's never the same. And it's like, well, sometimes it's good to have the workout be the same. How could you ever get better at deadlifts if you're always doing a different version of a deadlift, right? So I went off on a tangent there, but I'm just trying to say that it doesn't need to be complicated. These foundations are very simple, but when you can work with where you're at and build upon them, there's an infinite level that you could go to. Just like I said with the weights. Squatting is just squatting. But there are some people who can squat 600 pounds, and there's some people who can only squat 20. There's a big difference, but they're doing the same move. So there's lots of levels to grow upon these foundations. Now, what are the 5 foundations that we're going to talk about today? There's a few others that maybe I could have put in this list, but I just wanted to keep it simple again for today and not do too many. The first one we're going to talk about, and this is in no particular order, right, is hydration with minerals. So the goal, the rule of thumb, is to drink half your body weight in ounces of water daily. Now, what I recommend is that you put a pinch of mineral sea salt, that's either Celtic salt, or what I like to use is called Baja Gold sea salt, because it's got all of your essential trace minerals in there, right? And that helps better absorption of the water. It gives you better energy and better cellular function. So minerals give cells energy, right? They help them function better. So if your cells are functioning better and they have better energy, the cells are what determines the outcome of our health and our vitality in our life anyway. So without the minerals, we're missing out on a key part of actual hydration. So this is key because it's tied to fatigue and craving. When your hydration is off, you're going to start to crave salty things, right? You're going to start to feel slumps in your energy, and we don't even want to worry about that. Not to mention, all of your vital organs run off of water, right? We've heard it time and time again of how 70 to 80% of our body is water. And if our body is made of water and our cells run off of minerals, well then, if you're not getting those, we're going to struggle. So that's why water with minerals is the lifeline for everything that we're doing, right? So that's the first one. Now, what I suggest is that you just start off small. Maybe you just start in the morning with a tall glass of water and a pinch of some sea salt, and that's how you start your day. You don't have to go crazy. Maybe you're like, whoa, That's a lot of water at first. Figure out where you're at. Start with the drink in the morning, and then you can add as you go. Now, I carry around this big old 40-ounce, a Yeti thermos, right? So if I just drink 3 of these a day, I'm good to go. So what I would say for you is, again, start in the morning, pinch of sea salt in water, and that'll start your day off on the right foot. Now, the second foundational principle we're going to talk about is daily movement. And what I mean by daily movement is specifically walking, right? It is the lowest barrier to movement that we can get. You don't need any equipment. You don't really even need sneakers, but you should lace your sneakers up if you're walking on concrete. So the point I'm trying to make is that we need to move our bodies. Our body is not meant to sit in chairs all day. It's meant to move. And even if you don't have the accessibility to go to a gym or have equipment at home, you can at least walk. And there's so many added benefits to walking. So when we're walking, we want to try to get up to 8 to 10,000 steps on a daily basis. Again, you might say, man, that's a lot. I really don't walk at all. That's fine. And we'll talk about ways that you can split up your walks throughout the day and work your way up to it. But you can do something like grab your phone, get some people use Fitbits, a step counter, so you at least know how many steps you're taking in a day. And it's fun, right? It gamifies it. This way you're competing with yourself. And you're saying, man, yesterday I got 3,000 steps. What can I do tomorrow to get 4,000? And now you're looking at your schedule. You're like, oh, I got an extra 10 minutes. Let me sneak in a walk instead of just sitting here scrolling on Instagram, right? So that's how you start to make improvements in it. Now, steps and walking is one of the most underrated fat loss and energy tools, right? Actually, when you're in that zone 2 cardio, that rate of, you're breathing a little heavier, but you can still hold a conversation, that zone 2 is where fat loss is actually happening because it's utilizing fat for the energy for your walks. So that's an added benefit. And then energy, right? Your cells get oxygenated and it brings energy. You're getting out in the sunlight, right? So if you can walk outside, that's even better, right? Like if you don't have access to outside at the moment and you need to be on a treadmill because it's snowing or whatever it is, that's fine. But if you're walking outside, you're getting fresh air, you're getting sunlight. It's helping with your stress reduction. Walking is one of the best proven methods to reduce anxiety and stress reduction. Even in Japanese cultures, with people who have anxiety and depression, they'll prescribe them a walk in the woods. I don't know about you, but if you've ever gone on a hike or a walk in the woods or anything like that, it is the most refreshing feeling thing ever to be close to nature, breathe in some fresh air. So that was, one of the better things that you can do if you're dealing with a stressful lifestyle. And again, if you're not close to woods or what have you, right, do what you can do. But we're prioritizing moving our body throughout the day rather than not. And then the last thing I want to say about movement and walking in particular is that what I call movement snacks are almost better than a full-fledged intense workout. So again, if your schedule is busy and you don't have an hour or two to allocate for like a structured workout, but you have gaps of 5, 10, 20 minutes throughout the day, well then guess what? Now you can go for little walks. You can walk to the bathroom and back a couple times. You can do chores around the house where you're vacuuming or dusting or putting dishes away like you're walking there, right? And maybe you sneak in a few bodyweight squats or something. So you're doing these little movement snacks throughout the day if you're not able to get in a structured workout. And I still think if you are able to get in a structured workout, you should do these movement snacks in addition to it, right? Like if you wake up in the morning and, at 6 o'clock you do an hour-long workout, that's great. But if you're sitting all day long, that's not beneficial for you. You still have to prioritize getting up from time to time, setting an alarm if you have to, and moving your body around. So there's many ways to do it. And I emphasize this because, again, back to the simplicity, I will tell someone, hey, we should really work on our movement, trying to get 8 to 10,000 steps a day. And if someone is overthinking it, they're like, well, do I have to be outside? Do I have to, be on a treadmill? Like they start to overthink the and make things more complex. I even went for a walk with someone and we were walking at a slower pace, more of like a leisurely, like shopping at the mall pace. And I was saying how beneficial that was. And they were like, what do you mean? Like I can walk like this? And I said, yeah, why? Like with a confused face. And they said that because they thought when people said they have to go for a walk, that they have to be like out there like jazzercising and huffing and puffing and getting their heart rate up, right? A walk
doesn't necessarily need to be like intense exercise.
Hey, hope you're loving the episode so far. Thanks for spending some time with me. I got a quick favor to ask. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast because that's how I know you're getting value from the show. And this way, you never miss an episode. All right, now back to the show.
I had another conversation with someone who thought kind of like the same thing. They thought, if I'm going for a walk, this is my workout, and I'm gonna, strap on weights, and I'm gonna like push it as hard as I can. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but there's also nothing wrong with just walking, right, at whatever pace that you want to, because like I said, there's benefits of stress reduction and sunlight and setting your circadian rhythm, and those are still going to happen if you're just walking, right? Like, let's say you need to sort through some thoughts and you need to, let your mind be at rest. Well, if you're huffing and puffing and you think you got to walk as fast as you can to burn some calories, you're not able to calmly think, right? So it's not just about exercise. Walking itself is hugely beneficial. So the next one, number 3, again in no particular order, is protein intake. And I know we're probably beating a dead horse here with the protein intake, but it's just important because of your 3 macronutrients. It's one of the more important one in order to get the vitamins and nutrients, specifically amino acids, that your body and muscle needs to grow and to flourish, right? So your goal is 1 gram per pound of body weight. Now, let's say maybe you're not at your ideal body weight, and that's a lot of protein to eat. Think about your ideal body weight, and your goal is to try to eat 1 gram per body pound. Now, another good rule of thumb is women should get between 100 and 150 grams of protein a day. Men, maybe 150 to 200 grams of protein as a baseline, right? Somewhere to fall within that window. And if you want to make the most out of this, we want to try to eat animal protein so that you're getting a complete spectrum of the amino acids. Now, your body doesn't necessarily want chicken or steak. It wants the amino acids that are the building blocks for muscle and metabolism in the animal meat. And those sometimes aren't in all of the plant proteins. And if you're a vegetarian or vegan, by all means, still get your protein through things like, tempeh and soy products, right? That's fine. But the most ideal scenario is animal protein of the organic, free-range, pasteurized version so that you're getting all of your essential amino acids within your protein. Now, why is protein so important? Again, you've probably heard this, but just to reinforce it, right? Your metabolism thrives off of the amino acids and your protein, right? So when your metabolism is working well, that's the thermostat of your body, right? That's burning calories, that's burning fat, and keeping your energy right. Lean muscle controls your metabolism. And the amino acids and the protein are necessary to build lean muscle, especially if you're doing strength training. Next is satiety, right? Feeling satiated and feeling good after a meal is super important. Who wants to eat a meal and then be hungry or tired afterwards? That's not ideal. You just spend all that time cooking and making a meal for what, right? So when you eat protein, it keeps you satiated. This way, you can eat, let's say, breakfast, and then the next couple hours are not spent craving anything or falling asleep. It's just good energy until your next meal. And then you eat protein again, and then you maintain that even keel satiety throughout the entire day. Another thing is blood sugar balance. Now, why this is important is, again, for your steady energy. So if you're eating carbs that are fast absorbing into your bloodstream, it's going to spike your blood sugar, right? And then that leads to a crash, which leads to a dip in your energy levels, right? And also it can lead you to be like uneasy, almost feeling nauseous, and almost dizzy. When you're having a good amount of protein throughout the day, it stabilizes your blood sugar so that you're not having big spikes of blood sugar and therefore not having the crashes. So your energy is stable, your blood sugar is stable, your satiety is stable, and your mood is stable, all because of you eating a significant amount of protein. I think that's worth it, right? I'd rather have a day where I'm waking up, I'm feeling good, I'm not cranky, I'm not wanting a nap, I'm able to be present and focused and go throughout the day like that rather than saying, whoa, I just can't keep my eyes open, I need either another snack or to chug some coffee or an energy drink just to get me through the next couple hours, which we all know that's cheap energy. That's not really real energy. So protein is key to building long-lasting energy, building muscle, and regulating your metabolism. The fourth one is morning sunlight. we are circadian beings, right? We work on a diurnal rhythm, which means we wake with the sun and we go to sleep when the sun goes down. If that's not regulated, our energy is going to be off. Our internal systems are going to be off. Our digestion is going to be off. So playing a huge role is how we balance our energy, our day with the sun, which means when you get up in the morning, your goal should be to get 5 to 10 minutes of sunlight within 30 minutes of waking. Now, if you live in a place where it's got a lot of overcast and clouds, you're still getting the effects of the sun, trust me. And if you wake up before the sun, still get outside, right? I know it might not be 9 a.m. and the sun's out and bright and hitting your skin, but first light of the skylight and being outside in the fresh air is going to regulate your circadian rhythm. It's going to tell your body it's time to get up, right? It's going to allow your mood to boost, and it's going to start triggering energy to flood your system, right? So it's going to help you with deeper sleep. I always tell people, if you want to have better sleep, it all starts in the morning. So morning sunlight allows your body to regulate its circadian rhythm so that its energy is highest in the morning and slowly decreases throughout the day. And if that's regulated, you should start to fall into a deeper sleep at nighttime. So natural light, when coming from the sun, it anchors your body's clock better than any type of like coffee, caffeine, and I know we enjoy those stimulants, but hear me out. When the light comes through your eyes are receptors, right? And it triggers something in your body to understand what's happening, right? The sun is up, we should be up. So it triggers hormonal, occurrences to happen. Things like cortisol release, right? When you're in the morning and you want energy, cortisol has to secrete into your bloodstream so that our body has energy, right? And that happens through the light coming in through our eyes. We also absorb minerals and nutrients like vitamin D through our eyes, right? So it's important that we're getting morning sunlight. And then the last one is a consistent sleep schedule. Now, this was the one where I was on the fence about putting on the foundations because there's some other things we could have put in here. But because of how many people I talk to that deal with chronic fatigue or just, terrible bouts of energy, and it's a big part and contributing factor to their health at the moment. I think this one is very important. Also, I put it in here because of the simplicity of it, right? It's not easy to get into a consistent sleep schedule, but it is simple. And what I mean by consistent sleep schedule is your bedtime and your wake times are regulated. If you wake up at 6 o'clock, try to wake up around 6 o'clock every day, even on the weekends. If you go to bed at 10:30, try to go to bed at 10:30 every day, even on the weekends. The closer you can be to regulating those times, the better your body's going to adapt to all of the naturally occurring things that are happening, right? Cortisol production, hormonal balance, energy production, your digestive system, right? We get into this rhythm because our body is super, super adaptive. It's so adaptive that you can see how people can live near the equator and it's super hot and they get used to that. And there's people who can live, up in north, right? In Russia and in Canada and be in the cold and they get regulated to that. So our body is so good at adapting to its surroundings and the atmosphere and the stimulants that you're putting upon it. But it's important that we allow it to do so in a proper manner. And getting those consistent wake and sleep times, again, helps with your energy, helps with your mood, helps with your digestion, so that your body knows it's time to wake up, it's time to have energy, it's time to work and digest food. And at nighttime, if you stop your eating a good bit, 2 to 3 hours before bed, it's calming its systems down. It's not worrying about digesting. It's worrying about getting into a deep sleep. So when you have a lack of this consistency and a lack of rhythm within your sleep schedule, that's going to lead to things like cravings, right? Whereas one night you're up until 2 a.m., the next night you're in bed by 10, right? It's all over the place. Maybe you're out partying, you're out late, or you're just up watching God knows what on TV into the wee hours of the night, but it's unregulated. Those are the situations that are going to cause you to start craving sweets, to start craving salty things, because your body is hormonally dysregulated, right? A lot of things are off with your diurnal rhythm. Another thing it does is poor energy. Again, your body doesn't know when to secrete the right hormones to give it the right energy at the certain times during the day. Because one day you slept until 10, the other day you were up at 6 o'clock, and you're throwing it off, right? Your body has no way of getting into a rhythm, so your energy's off. And it's harder for fat loss because we know that fat loss happens when you're sleeping, especially in deep sleep. So if you're not getting that deep quality sleep on a regular basis, then it's harder to lose fat. So as you know, all of these tie together. This last one is really a big foundation because sleep is like the mother foundation, right? If we're talking about what's so important, my diet, my exercise, if you don't have proper sleep, I mean that other stuff is gonna suffer. You're not really gonna be able to work out. You're not gonna be able to do those other things effectively, and your body won't metabolize the food properly if your energy and sleep is off. So having that consistent sleep schedule as a foundation is going to in turn allow you to have better sleep. Now, how can we kind of put this into action, right? Instead of saying, let's do all of these, it's going to be great. You know, Sean said these 5 foundational things. I'm going to start tomorrow, and you should take action on some of them. But what I'm going to give you as a suggestion is to work on your morning routine. When you have your morning in control, it sets up the pace and the mood and the energy for the rest of the day. And not only biologically does it set your body up for success, mentally it does as well. Because the first thing you did was take care of yourself and your health and your mindset. So then you kind of check something off the box. It's going to put you in that good mood and have good energy to take with you for the rest of the day. So here's some things that I would encourage you to do is to stack a couple of these basics into a simple morning practice. So an example for you is wake up, get a nice tall glass of water with minerals, do 3 to 5 minutes of breath work, and then get some morning sunlight. That is going to set your circadian rhythm, that's going to boost your energy, and that's going to mineralize your body. And when your energy is in the right place, I promise you, you're a different person than when you're slumped down and fatigued. I know you've been there, and I know you've seen people either at work or in public where their eyes are half closed, they got the deep dark circles under their eye, and they're just, you don't want to be around them. You're not enjoying the conversation or being in their presence. But when someone is lively and they have good energy and they're making you feel better, that also is someone you want to be around. So when you wake up, you know, I always have to go to the bathroom. That's the first thing. But your body's dehydrated. It's been dehydrating and breathing out that air all night long, right? So we need to rehydrate, especially first thing in the morning with those minerals. So get a big glass of water, pinch of that mineral salt in there, chug that down. Then you do some breath work. There's plenty of different things you can look up on YouTube. I like to do 3 rounds of 30 breaths. So I take a deep inhale either through my mouth or through my nose to my belly, and then bring it up to my chest, and then sigh it out, right? That kind of circulates the air through my body, and I do 30 of those with a breath hold in between for about a minute, and I do 3 rounds. That wakes you up better than any shot of espresso will ever do. So we're hydrating our cells with the minerals, then we're getting our breath work and getting, more oxygen to the cells and waking our body up. And then lastly, we're getting outside and getting some sunlight in our eyes, on our skin, and it's telling our body which hormones to start regulating, to secrete some cortisol, to have energy, and to start the day. Now, I mean, if you have a nice patio and it's warm weather, maybe you go do your breath work outside in the sunlight and you kind of do those at the same time. But those 3 right there can be done in 20 minutes, right? And that's all you need in the morning. And I promise you it will change the trajectory of not only your day, but your entire life and the way that you feel about your health and your mood. So again, these foundations aren't crazy, but they should start to become non-negotiable. Where if you really implement that morning routine or some of these things, there's something that you do no matter what your schedule is, no matter if you're traveling, no matter what the weather is. You do these because they're so important to building your health and just feeling your best. So pick 1 or 2 and just double down on them this week and really, make a conscious effort to do them and start to feel the difference, right? That's the biggest thing, is that you understand how you feel when you're doing these things. When you eat food, how do you feel? When you take a new supplement, how do you feel? When you start doing some breath work or something in the morning, how do you feel? How is it improving your quality of life? And once we do that, we start to know what our body wants and what it doesn't. So if this resonates with you, please share this episode, send it to a friend, send it to a family member, or just blast that out on social media for anyone who needs to hear this. And if you have any questions, drop them in my DMs on social media, or if you know me personally, just reach out. I'd love to have a conversation about health. So until next time, guys, go be great.
Hey, thanks for spending some time with me on today's episode. I hope you got a ton of value from it. If we're not connected on Instagram yet, let's change that. Hit me up at Sean Calhoun underscore. That's SEAN Calhoun underscore. Shoot me a DM. Let me know what you think of the show or if you got any questions about how to level up your health. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you on the next episode.